Can you tell us what led up to that? Or is there anything that we didn't see that precipitated that?
No, it's just that Marjorie is a little slow.
Do you know what we're here for?
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Jasmine Crockett just made a bold move, and let's just say it didn't sit well with a certain orange-hued former president. Trump's response? Less stable genius and more grumpy Trump. But here's the real kicker. Could this viral moment actually be boosting her popularity instead of hurting it? Stick around, because we're about to break down how one stark comeback might just rewrite the rulebook on political smackdowns. What's different about Jasmine Crockett? Let's dive in. All right, let's talk about the rising star shaking things up in Congress, Jasmine Crockett. This freshman lawmaker from Texas has been making waves with her razor-sharp comebacks and no-nonsense attitude. But little did she know, she was about to go head-to-head with none other than the queen of controversy herself, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Picture this, a stiff, buttoned-up committee hearing, packed with the usual crowd of politicians in their perfectly pressed suits, all trying to outdo each other and look serious. But today was different. MTG, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene for those who don't follow the circuit, was in rare form. She was slinging personal jabs like they were party favors, tossing out insults like it was some kind of twisted Halloween giveaway. But Crockett, she wasn't having any of it. Instead of backing down or getting flustered, she fired back with a comeback so sharp it left the room in stunned silence. And just like that, the moment went viral. Social media lit up, with clips of her takedowns spreading like wildfire. People were sharing, commenting, and applauding her for standing her ground. Now, here's the twist. Instead of this moment hurting her, it seems to be boosting her popularity. In an era where political smackdowns often dominate the headlines, Crockett's ability to hold her own against one of the most polarizing figures in Congress is resonating with people. It's not just about the clapback. It's about her poise, her confidence, and her refusal to be intimidated. So what's different about Jasmine Crockett? She's not just another politician playing the usual games. She's rewriting the rulebook, showing that sometimes the best way to win is to stand your ground and let your sharp wit do the talking. And in doing so, she's proving that in the world of politics, a well-timed comeback can be more powerful than any policy paper. Love her or hate her, one thing's for sure. Jasmine Crockett is a name you're going to be.
The hearing was supposed to be about the AG, right? So we're supposed to be talking about AG Merrick Garland, and she starts talking about Judge Merchan. So now I'm upset because it's already late at night. I've been here all day, ready to work. Y'all aren't here, and you're still talking about that failed trial. So I had to ask her if she understood because she's not right.
Most newcomers in politics would have been a nervous wreck, maybe even shedding a few tears under that kind of pressure. But not Jasmine Crockett. Nope, she sat there as chill as could be, probably daydreaming about her next meal while Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, went off on one of her tangents. You could see the wheels turning in her head, silently calculating her next move. The tension in the room was next level. It was that kind of awkward, suspenseful silence where everyone's just waiting to see if the newbie is about to fold under the weight of it all. Would she get flustered? Would she stumble over her words? Maybe even storm out? Nope. Instead, Crockett did something no one saw coming. She locked eyes with MTG and dropped an absolute nuke. She didn't just call out Greene, she roasted her. From the bleach blonde hair to that, unfortunate body structure. It was a moment. Gasps, stifled laughs. Some folks had to physically hold themselves back. It was the political equivalent of a rap battle KO, and Crockett did not miss. It was like watching a CS-BAN edition of Mean Girls *, but with way higher stakes. Crockett's epic clapback spread faster than a high school rumor. Before you could blink, Twitter was set ablaze. 1 second, she was a rising star. The next, she was a full-blown internet sensation. But buckle up, folks, because this political soap opera was just getting started. What Crockett didn't expect was for her fiery response to land on the radar of none other than Donald J. Trump. And if there's one thing we know about 45, it's that he lives for a social media meltdown. Suddenly, everyone was watching. Crockett's name was everywhere. Her mic drop moment had officially entered the political Hall of Fame. But here's the real question. Can a single savage tweet really turn a political newcomer into the next big thing? Turns out, the answer is a massive asterisk, yes asterisk. Faster than you can say viral meme, Crockett's burn swept across the internet like a wildfire in August. Grandmas, Gen Z, late-night hosts. Everybody was talking about the Congresswoman who dared to roast MTG. It was like asterisk America's Got Talent asterisk, but instead of a golden buzzer moment, Crockett was dishing out comebacks hotter than a Texas heatwave. The internet did not disappoint. The memes rolled in faster than Trump coming up with excuses after a rough hair day. One had Crockett as Wonder Woman, effortlessly swatting away MTG's nonsense with her sass-infused bracelets. Another rebranded her as the host of Asterisk Roast Battle, Congressional Edition Asterisk, but my personal favorite, a side-by-side comparison of MTG and a bottle of Clorox with the caption, "Spot the difference. I'll wait." But it wasn't just the meme lords having a field day. Celebrities jumped on the Crockett hype train like politicians ditching a doomed campaign. Suddenly, A-listers who probably couldn't name a single congressperson last week were out here dropping shout-outs. It was like watching the quiet kid in school go viral and turn into homecoming royalty overnight. Speaking of overnight fame, Crockett's follower count skyrocketed faster than Trump's blood pressure at an all-vegan restaurant. 1 minute, she's a freshman lawmaker. The next, she's got more followers than half of Congress combined. People were smashing that follow button so hard. It's shocking Twitter didn't just give up and crash. Of course, with great virality comes great curiosity. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, who exactly is this queen of clapbacks? Turns out she's got way more layers than just a sharp tongue. Before roasting Marjorie Taylor Greene to a crisp, Crockett was out here actually making a difference as a lawyer and activist fighting for real change. In other words, she's been putting in the work long before this viral moment. This wasn't just luck. She's been training for this showdown her whole life. And now she's officially added Sassmaster to her already stacked resume. The political world was obsessed. It was like everything else in Washington stopped. Forget the usual policy debates. Who cares about that when you've got a Twitter war that puts asterisk Game of Thrones asterisk drama to shame? Even CNN probably had to dig out their breaking news banner for something that wasn't about Trump for once. And in the end, Crockett didn't just survive, she thrived. She proved that in today's political arena, sometimes all it takes to shake up the system is a sharp wit, a fearless attitude, and a phone with a Wi-Fi connection. This wasn't just a moment. This was the beginning of a whole new era in political smackdowns. Well, look who finally decided to log in. Trump saw what was happening, and because he simply cannot resist, jumped in with a rant that was about as subtle as a wrecking ball. And just like that, this political showdown went from a Twitter roast to a full-blown battle royale. Trump's meltdown, after keeping unusually quiet during the Crockett versus MTG showdown, was something to behold. Our favorite ex-president must have finally gotten his tiny hands on a working phone, and boy, did he let loose. Suddenly, the internet was flooded with more capital letters than a toddler's first attempt at typing. His Twitter tirade was like watching a human volcano erupt, all hot air, no substance. It was an absolute masterclass in how asterisk not asterisk to use social media, complete with more exclamation points than a teenage girl's diary. It was as if his caps lock key got stuck, and instead of fixing it, he just rolled with it. Maybe he thought yelling would make people take him seriously again. In true Trump fashion, he went straight for the personal attacks with all the grace of a bull in a china shop. He called Crockett a low IQ freshman because apparently that's the best insult his bigly brain could come up with. It's like he's playing insult bingo with the same old worn-out phrases. But the real kicker? Trump actually tried to claim that Crockett was disrespecting Georgia. Oh, that's rich, coming from the guy who literally tried to strong-arm Georgia officials into overturning election results. It's like accusing someone of littering while you're out here setting an entire forest on fire. The irony was so thick, you could spread it on toast. Political analysts had a field day with this one. They called out Trump's classic deflection tactics faster than you can say fake news. It's like he's playing 4D chess, except the only piece he knows how to move is the victim card. But here's where it gets really funny. Instead of hurting Crockett, Trump's meltdown actually made her even more popular. It's like he has a reverse Midas touch. Everything he tweets against turns into gold. People who had never even heard of Jasmine Crockett before were suddenly her biggest fans. It was like Trump's seal of disapproval became the hottest endorsement in town. Late-night comedians couldn't resist. Jimmy Kimmel had a field day, comparing Trump's Twitter tantrum to his hair, saying both were wild, uncontrollable, and desperately in need of professional help. Ouch. That one's got to sting more than a bad spray tan. It turns out, Trump's Twitter tirade was the best thing to happen to Crockett since sliced bread. It was like watching a magician try to make his assistant disappear, only to accidentally saw himself in half. There was a time when getting roasted by Trump was a political death sentence, but times have changed. Now, getting attacked by Trump is basically a career boost. It's like getting a 1-star Yelp review from a critic who only hates good restaurants. Suddenly, everybody wants to check it out. And oh boy, did people want to check out Crockett. Her name started trending. People who hadn't even been following the original MTG feud suddenly started paying attention. It was like playing the world's weirdest game of telephone, except the message actually got clearer every time it was passed along. Hey, did you hear about that new Congresswoman who made Trump lose his marbles? Suddenly, Crockett wasn't just a rising star, she was a household name. This whole situation turned into the political plot twist no one saw coming. Republicans cheering for Crockett. It was like watching your stuffy, Fox News-loving uncle suddenly bust out a TikTok dance. Unexpected, slightly uncomfortable, but oddly entertaining. Political observers were left scratching their heads, wondering if they had stepped into some alternate universe where party loyalty was suddenly up for grabs. Was this the moment when the political divide cracked just a little? Crockett, however, was not about to let this golden opportunity slip through her fingers. She kept the sass coming, serving up more burns than a Texas BBQ joint on the 4th of July. It was like watching a tennis match where one player had a racket and the other brought a flamethrower. And the crowd? They were here for it. The 4th of July? It was like watching a tennis match where one player had a racket and the other brought a sledgehammer. Trump, as always, played the role of the sledgehammer, swinging wildly but with no real precision. Political commentators were eating it up like the last slice of pizza at a frat party. They weren't just entertained, they were impressed. Crockett wasn't just winning the internet, she was rewriting the rules of political communication. Some even called her a symbol of resilience against political bullying, saying she had cracked the secret code on how to fight fire with humor, stand up to bullies, and turn an attack into an advantage. This wasn't just a Twitter war, it was a real-life case study in effective political strategy. It was like watching a masterclass in How to Win Friends and Influence People except if that book had a chapter on roasting your opponents so hard they needed aloe vera. Crockett didn't just survive Trump's tantrum, she thrived on it. It was David versus Goliath, except David wasn't even bothered enough to bring a slingshot. Instead, she just grabbed her Twitter account and a microphone and went to work. While Trump was busy tweeting, Crockett was out here rewriting the rules of the game. Who would have thought a well-placed singer could pack more punch than a political action committee? Once upon a time, politics was all about warring speeches and empty promises. But those days are fading fast. Crockett's clash with Trump wasn't just a one-hit wonder. It might be the start of a whole new political playbook. The real secret to her success wasn't money, deep political connections, or playing it safe. Her weapon of choice was humor, not the scripted, politician-approved kind, but wit so sharp it could slice through all the nonsense in Washington faster than anyone could say fake news. And it wasn't just about being funny. It was about being real. Crockett's ability to stay authentic while delivering cutting comebacks resonated with people in a way that traditional political rhetoric rarely does. She didn't just talk at her audience. She connected with them. Her humor wasn't just a shield against attacks. It was a bridge, drawing people in and making her message stick. In a world where political discourse often feels stale and rehearsed, Crockett's approach was a breath of fresh air. She proved that you don't need to shout louder or sink to the level of your critics to win. Sometimes, all it takes is a well-timed joke, a fearless attitude, and the confidence to stay true to yourself. This wasn't just a moment. It was a movement. Crockett showed that politics doesn't have to be a stuffy, humorless arena. It can be a space where wit, authenticity, and a little bit of sass can cut through the noise and make a real impact. And in doing so, she didn't just change the conversation, she changed the game.